Ah, yes, cats. The internet's favorite furry overlords and humanity's most successful parasites. You know, those adorable little sociopaths we voluntarily let sleep on our faces while they're literally carrying brain altering organisms in their shit. But sure, keep scrolling through cat memes while Mr. Whiskers plots your psychological takeover. Look, I get it. They're cute, they purr, they do that little slow blink thing that makes you feel special. But what if I told you that every single one of those behaviors is either deeply disturbing, ecologically catastrophic, or straight up nightmare fuel when you actually understand what's happening? Because I'm about to ruin cats for you in the next 10 minutes, and honestly, you're gonna wish you just kept living in ignorant bliss. The bathroom ritual. Let's start with something you've definitely seen but probably tried not to think about too deeply. The post-poop celebration sprint. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's 2 a.m., dead silent, and suddenly your cat explodes out of the litter box like they just robbed a bank, and the cops are right behind them. They're tearing through your house, knocking over plants, parkouring off furniture, acting absolutely unhinged. Most people think it's cute, quirky cat behavior. Maybe they're just excited to feel lighter or something, right? Wrong. That's your cat experiencing pure primal terror because in their little walnut brain, they just made themselves a sitting target for predators. See, when cats defecate in the wild, they're completely vulnerable. The smell, the crouch position, the whole situation screams, "Come eat me," to anything bigger and hungrier. So that psychotic sprint through your living room isn't joy. It's them trying to put as much distance as possible between themselves and what their instincts are screaming is a death trap. But here's where it gets genuinely disgusting. Before the sprint happens, they're doing their responsible little burial routine in the litter box, right? Sounds great. Except now their paws are absolutely coated in litter particles, fecal matter, dried urine crystals, and whatever bacterial nightmare is living in that box. And those same paws? Yeah, they're about to walk across your kitchen counter where you prep food, your pillow where you sleep, and if you're really lucky, directly on your face at 6 a.m. for breakfast. Studies show that even freshly cleaned litter contains millions of bacteria per gram. We're talking E. coli, salmonella, all the greatest hits. Your cat is essentially running a mobile biohazard unit throughout your entire home, and you're just letting it happen because they looked cute doing the little digging motion. The parasite problem. But the poop particles are honestly just the appetizer because we need to talk about the tiny little mind-controlling hitchhiker that's probably already living rent-free in your brain, Toxoplasma gondii. You've probably heard that pregnant women shouldn't change litter boxes and assumed it was just general hygiene stuff or whatever. Nah, it's way more sinister than that. Toxoplasma gondii is a legitimate brain parasite that can only complete its full life cycle inside a cat's intestines. When your precious little furball takes a dump, they're releasing literal millions of these microscopic parasitic cysts into the litter box. You breathe in some contaminated dust while scooping, touch your mouth after petting them, basically exist in the same space as cat feces, and boom, you're infected. And here's where it gets properly messed up. This parasite doesn't just hang out doing nothing. It literally rewires your brain chemistry. In rodents, toxoplasma makes them sexually attracted to cat urine. Let that sink in for a second. It turns their survival instinct completely backward, so they actively seek out the thing that's going to kill them, ensuring they get eaten and the parasite completes its life cycle inside the cat. It's like if someone hacked your brain and replaced your fear of heights with an irresistible urge to jump off buildings. In humans, studies have linked it to increased risk-taking behavior, slower reaction times, mood changes, and even higher rates of schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. Some estimates suggest 30 to 50% of the global human population is infected right now, and there's no cure. Once it's in there, it's forming cysts in your brain tissue permanently, just chilling until your immune system weakens and it can reactivate. So if you've ever made a spectacularly bad life decision and thought, I don't know what I was thinking, maybe check if you own a cat because that parasite might literally be making executive decisions for you. The murder hobby. Now, let's address the literal elephant-sized pile of corpses in the room, or more accurately, the dead bird on your doorstep that you're supposed to be grateful for. People absolutely love to romanticize this behavior. Oh my God, Mr. Fluffkins brought me a present. He's showing me he loves me. No, Rebecca. Mr. Fluffkins is presenting you with evidence of his latest homicide like a serial killer keeping trophies. Cats are directly responsible for killing an estimated 1.3 to 4 billion birds and 6.3 to 22.3 billion mammals in the United States alone every single year. That's billion with a capital B. We're talking apocalyptic numbers. And here's the most twisted part. They don't even need to do it. Your well-fed house cat with the premium organic salmon-flavored kibble and 3 square meals a day is still out there committing ecological genocide purely for the vibes. It's literally sport to them. Imagine if you went to the grocery store, bought a week's worth of food, came home with a fully stocked fridge, and then still decided to hunt down the neighborhood kids just for fun. Society would rightfully throw you in prison, but we give cats a pass because they're just following their instincts. Research shows cats kill whether they're hungry or not. The hunting instinct is completely divorced from appetite. They see movement and their brain just goes murder mode activated regardless of whether they've eaten 5 minutes ago. Cats have been directly linked to the extinction of at least 63 species worldwide, especially on islands where native animals evolved without any feline predators. These poor creatures literally had zero defense mechanisms against what's essentially a furry apex predator with built-in switchblades. And the outdoor cat people love to defend this with, but it's natural. Cool, so is dying from infected wounds and polio. But we invented medicine specifically to stop natural things from happening when they suck. The kneading behavior. You know what literally everyone thinks is the most adorable thing in the world? When cats make biscuits on your lap with their little paws. Well, buckle up because I'm about to absolutely destroy that for you. People will tell you it's a leftover behavior from kittenhood when they kneaded their mother's belly to stimulate milk flow, and they'll say it with this dreamy look in their eyes like, "Aw, they think you're their mommy." Sure, that's technically part of it, but here's what nobody wants to admit. This behavior is your cat aggressively marking you as their property. See those cute little paw pads rhythmically pressing into your thigh? They're absolutely loaded with scent glands. Every single knead is your cat literally stamping mine all over you like a teenager tagging a subway car with spray paint. You're not the parent figure in this relationship. You're the possession. It's like if your roommate came up to you every morning, rubbed their armpit all over your shoulder, and was like, "Just showing affection, bro." Technically true, but also deeply weird and territorial when you actually think about what's happening. That purring fluffball isn't bonding with you out of love. They're claiming ownership and making absolutely sure every other cat in a 5-mile radius knows you're taken. The scent glands in cat paws secrete pheromones that humans can't detect, but scream territorial claims to other cats. And when they need you right before curling up to sleep, they're not getting comfortable. They're preparing their territory, making sure you reek of them so no competing cat gets any ideas about moving in on their food source. It's possessive, calculated, and honestly kind of sociopathic when you break it down. So next time your cat is making biscuits and you're sitting there like, "OMG, he loves me so much," just remember you're not being loved. You're being tagged like graffiti. You're not the owner in this dynamic. You never were. Congratulations, you're the owned. The mating system. Alright, save the absolute worst for last because we need to talk about how cats reproduce, and I'm not exaggerating when I say it's genuinely nightmare fuel that belongs in a horror movie. You hear cats absolutely screaming outside at night during mating season, and most people think, oh, they're just being dramatic, or cats are just vocal animals. Nope. That sound you're hearing is the audio equivalent of biological warfare. Male cats have barbed penises. Not smooth, not normal, barbed. We're talking about 120 to 150 tiny backward-facing spines made of keratin covering the entire thing like some kind of medieval torture device. And why, you might ask, would evolution design something so unhinged? Because when the male withdraws after mating, those barbs rake across the inside of the female's vaginal walls, like dragging a cheese grater through delicate tissue. It's not just uncomfortable, it's designed to be absolutely agonizing. The female screams, often violently attacks the male immediately after, and the tissue damage frequently causes bleeding, inflammation, and infections. Imagine if human reproduction required one partner to drag a handful of fish hooks through the other's internal organs. That's essentially what's happening here, and it's not a design flaw, it's literally the intended function. The pain triggers ovulation in female cats because they're what's called induced ovulators, meaning they only release eggs in response to that specific trauma. No agony, no ovulation, no babies. Evolution looked at the entire concept of reproduction and said, you know what this needs? Weaponized genitalia and mandatory suffering. The barbs also serve to scrape out any competing male sperm that might already be in there, ensuring the current male's genetic material wins the race. After mating, females are often left with microtears, serious inflammation, and sometimes permanent scarring. And during heat cycles, females may mate with multiple males over several days, experiencing this trauma on repeat like some kind of biological Groundhog Day from hell. So when someone says cats are making love, understand that it's less romance novel and more survival horror franchise. So there you have it. Cats are parasite spreading, ecosystem destroying, property marking little biological weapons whose entire existence is basically a horror anthology. You're welcome for completely destroying your relationship with Mr. Whiskers. I know what you're thinking right now. You'll never look at that purr the same way. You'll never feel quite as special during biscuit making time, and you're definitely going to think twice before letting them walk on your face at 6 a.m. Every single adorable behavior is either deeply disturbing, vaguely threatening, or straight up ecological terrorism when you actually understand what's happening. But honestly, despite the brain parasites, the murder hobby, the biological torture devices, and the aggressive territorial marking, they're still my favorite animal. I mean, you gotta respect the audacity. These little fuzzy sociopaths really said, I'm gonna manipulate your brain chemistry, destroy entire ecosystems, and make you feel privileged when I let you pet me. And somehow we all just went along with it. That's honestly iconic.